This morning we are unsealing several indictments targeting Mexican Mafia members and associates here in the Orange County area. Our operation is called Gangsta Paradise. You can see here on the board we've targeted 47 individuals in this prosecution. I'm pleased to report this morning that 43 of the 47 are currently in custody. And we're going to talk a little bit about the charges. This is a major operation. The majority of it was executed early this morning, where we arrested the majority of these individuals in their homes or out in the public area. This is what the United States Department of Justice does well. We are here to bring public safety to the community. We're here to clean up our communities from violent and organized crime. That's the bread and butter of the FBI and the Department of Justice. And we're very proud of the work that was been done on this case by our prosecutors and our agents. I'm going to talk a little bit about the specific charges here. These charges include racketeering, conspiracy, kidnapping, extortion, trafficking dangerous drugs such as fentanyl, methamphetamine, and as well as illegal gambling and murder. The case's main indictment charges dozens of Mexican Mafia gangsters in 66 felony counts. It paints a disturbing picture of how the gang's tentacles extend from state prison into our county jails and on through the streets to influence Latino street gangs and drug dealers in Santa Ana, Anaheim, Fullerton, and elsewhere. And I want to explain real quick, the Mexican Mafia is a prison gang. It is the most powerful prison gang in the United States. The members are incarcerated in state prison. But you're going to hear how, despite being incarcerated in state prison, they're still running the gangs out in the communities. And today's operation is focused on dismantling that operation. According to one of the indictments, over a near 2-year period ending this month, 48-year-old Luis Cardenas, a longtime inmate of the California State Prison System, oversaw the Mexican Mafia's crimes in Orange County and its jails. From his prison cell, Cardenas used an encrypted messaging app on contraband cell phones to direct the gang's high-ranking associates on the streets on the operation of La M's activities in Orange County. Victims who had the misfortune of being in bad standing with Cardenas ran the risk of having him command orders to kidnap and assault them out in the streets. Cardenas was incarcerated at a California state prison for the entirety of this investigation, but ran his operation by communicating with numerous people outside the prison in Orange County, again, through these cell phones and other means. He would direct things such as drug trafficking. He would direct the movement of cash, the collection of taxes, prison or gang taxes, and he would issue threats of violence and order his associates to kidnap and engage in violence against others. When one of the out-of-custody associates was moving $20,000 in cash for Cardenas, he was pulled over by law enforcement while on the phone with Cardenas, who was in prison. Cardenas instructed her to break her phone, and she poured water on it. So it just gives you just a little taste of how much control he exerts. He's literally on the phone with criminal actors as they're engaged in crime in our streets. It's outrageous. The indictment further outlines the gang's control of so-called slap houses, or illegal casinos, within commercial strip malls and private homes, turning neighborhoods and shopping areas into dens of criminality. To protect this racket, the gang collected a ton of taxes and provided security, using violence to protect these illegal businesses, kidnapping and assaulting an employee of a Cardenas-controlled slap house in Stanton just last year. So I'm going to introduce some of the other folks to speak on here, but I really want to just extend a gratitude to our partners on this. We can't do this alone. This is a joint operation with our local partners, with our police departments, with the state prison system, with the FBI, and this was years of work in the making to culminate in just one morning of work, in which hopefully we have dismantled this very large and complex and violent operation here in Orange County, and our hope is that after this morning, Orange County is a safer place for the residents. So with that, I'm going to introduce the head of the FBI LA office, Akil Davis.
Good morning. My name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles office. We're here today not simply to make an announcement, but to mark a pivotal moment in a relentless fight for the safety of our communities. This morning, we are talking about the culmination of a massive, coordinated operation led by the FBI's Orange County Violent Gang Task Force, alongside the dedicated partners you see up here today, and many more working behind the scenes. This operation, known as Operation Gangsta's Paradise, is not just a case file for the FBI. It's an ongoing pursuit of justice targeting 47 members and associates of the Mexican Mafia. As First Assistant stated, we've arrested 43 out of 47, but more will come. We took a decisive action today against the Mexican Mafia. Others were already behind bars, and some remain at large. Fugitives who will soon learn that there is no place left to hide. We are actively seeking two of those fugitives, Luis Bucio and Mario Arias, and we will provide those pictures and information on them shortly. To anyone and everyone who may know where these two are, do not take matters into your own hands. You can help us by contacting the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. Your tip could be the one that brings them to justice. Your tip could be the one that continues to keep our communities safe. This morning's operation was executed with precision and courage. 7 SWAT teams from Los Angeles and beyond moved swiftly into action to carry out these arrests. They were joined by other SWAT teams from our partners here today and the FBI's hostage rescue team. What you see is a seamless execution built on years of training, experience, and our unwavering commitment to keep our communities safe. Safer streets start with a tenacious teamwork, and that's exactly what you saw today. Since this investigation began nearly 2 years ago, the task force has struck at the heart of this criminal enterprise. We have seized a sobering amount of drugs and weapons. 25 firearms, tens of thousands of dollars in cash, 4 kilos of fentanyl, 120 pounds of methamphetamine, 3 kilograms of cocaine, 2 pounds of heroin, and again, 5,000 fentanyl pills. What's off the streets today represents lives protected for tomorrow, and we are not done. Now, as I introduce Chief Robert Rodriguez of the Santa Ana Police Department, I believe he would join me in saying, we don't just respond to crime, we dismantle the organization behind it. Now I'll turn it over to Chief. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Chief Robert Rodriguez with the Santa Ana Police Department. As previously mentioned, today's operation was a major step forward in improving the quality of life for our residents and our communities and our business districts. This morning, as you heard, numerous members of the Mexican Mafia and associates were taken into custody for various law violations. And this was a culmination of a complex 2-year investigation throughout Orange County. For us here in the city of Santa Ana, one of the major areas of impact was East First Street that has been heavily affected by drug trafficking, extortion, and violence impacting our community and local businesses. As part of this law enforcement operation, as you heard, we've seized over 100 pounds of various narcotics and numerous firearms removed off the streets. This sends a clear message. We will continue working aggressively with our local, state, and federal partners to ensure that we target those that threaten public safety. Most importantly, this enforcement action helps us reclaim our neighborhoods and move Santa Ana forward as a safer community for our residents. I also want to thank our local partners, our mayor, our federal partners, because we couldn't do this as one agency. This is a collaborative effort, and together we can reclaim our communities and make our cities safer. Thank you. And I will introduce Chief Manny from the Anaheim Police Department.
Thanks, Chief. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming out this morning. My name is Manny, Police Chief in the city of Anaheim. And again, thank you for coming out. Opportunity to highlight some of the incredible work being done by so many of our partners and the impacts that it is having on our various communities. This investigation originated nearly 2 years ago with the proactive approach of two Anaheim gang investigators whose effort ultimately set the foundation of what became a long-term investigation in partnership, as was highlighted with the Orange County Violent Gang Task Force. Through the work of the task force, investigators uncovered a wide range of serious crimes, including murder, robberies, extortion, narcotics trafficking, and illegal firearm possession. This type of organized gang activity is dangerous and completely unacceptable in any of our communities, and certainly in the city of Anaheim, where our residents, businesses, and visitors expect to feel safe. Organized gang crime does not operate in isolation. It reaches into our neighborhoods, creates fear, and takes advantage of vulnerable people, affecting the quality of life our residents expect and deserve in all our respective communities. Investigations like this are essential because they focus, as the AUSA touched on, in dismantling the structure behind the activity rather than just responding to the individual crimes. Today's operation represents meaningful progress in disrupting the network and holding those involved accountable. It should also send a very, very clear message. If you are thinking about joining or supporting an organized criminal gang, understand that we are committed collectively in identifying you, investigating you, and working with our partners to bring you to justice, no matter where you operate in the region and certainly in Orange County. I want to briefly recognize the Anaheim Police Department investigators assigned to this task force. Their professionalism, hard work, dedication, and in collaboration with our partners really is incredibly responsible for bringing this case forward and where it is today. The Anaheim Police Department will continue to stand proud with our partners, both federal, state, and local, in this effort against organized crime and the important impacts that it has on our communities. Together, we remain committed to that work, and we will continue to take this case as well as others forward. Thank you, and I'll now turn it back over to Mr. Essayli.
All right, thank you. We'll take a few questions if there's any.
Where is Cardenas based? Like, what prison is he in, and what were his initial charges, and when did he go in?
He is in Ironwood State Prison currently, but he, I believe, was mostly operating out of Calipatria Prison for the majority of this investigation. He's housed, do you know his initial charges? Murder.
Murder.
He's serving a murder sentence in state prison. But as a result of this, he will be in federal custody. He'll be in a federal prison.
Do you know what his sentence was? So like, 25 to life, but up to
Yeah, 25 for life, 25 to life.
These Mexican Mafia issues, they've been going on for decades, and we hear about these busts every once in a while, but then they continue. How, like, did they know Cardenas was a shot caller, and if so, how does he get a hold of a cell phone in prison? How does he continue to do this? And it seems just like kind of a circular thing, but every 5-10 years, you get a big bust, and then there's another shot caller getting all this.
Well, look, I mean, fighting crime is not a one-day thing. It's an ongoing activity, and so this is not like we're done today. After today, we're probably going to start a new investigation, look at who's going to come and try to fill the power vacuum. So it is constant, a little bit of a cat and mouse game. But the reason the federal government is here is because when you are indicted federally and when you go into the federal prison system, you're going to be there for a very long time. You're not getting those early credits. You're not getting the state parole. So we're able to have a bigger impact on the community. And also, we're not arresting 1 or 2 people. We're taking an entire organization. So it's going to be much harder for them to put that structure back in place for a while. But we're not going to be sleeping on the sidelines while they do that. These guys will be working on identifying anyone who thinks about taking their spots, and we'll be getting them. As far as getting stuff into prison, prisoners are very creative, and they have a lot of ways that they sneak stuff into prison. Unfortunately, sometimes it's through people who work in the prison are offered money to sneak it in. They throw things over walls. They also can pass messages through other inmates. I don't want to tell all the secrets, but they've got a lot of ways to communicate.
And is Cardenas the only one on this board that's incarcerated, part of one of the shot callers, or other people?
There are other people in state custody that are part of this operation, but he's definitely the leader. The way it works is only very few people are actually members of the Mexican Mafia. There's a very small number of people, and they're usually all in prison. So he is the member, and he basically directs everyone else. They're associates of that enterprise.
So you've arrested over 40 people today. What does this tell law enforcement about the outrage that these people have from jail into their communities across Southern California.
Yeah, it just shows you how dedicated they are to continuing these organized criminal enterprises. They're not deterred by simply being in state custody. So that's where the federal government comes in, because federal prison is very different from state prison. So the lockup there, the security is often more intense. So he's not going to be as comfortable as he was. It's going to be much harder for him to do this. You know, if you engage in these activities, if you engage in murder behind prison, you're also potentially eligible for the death penalty. So there's much more consequences that can come into play once you're in lockup.
The 43 individuals were they taken into custody without incident?
I believe this morning was no issues.
43 subjects in custody without incident today. No significant injuries or issues.
And what can you say about the individuals that you're still looking for? I know 2 names were shared, but can you share anything else about them? You're still actively looking for them right now?
We're still actively looking for them, and as I said earlier, if you have any idea on the whereabouts or any information, please call 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov.
Do you know the timeline from when the first person was arrested to the last person? I'm sure it was coordinated within a 15-minute.
Yeah, some of them were, like I said, already in custody. As for the people that were arrested today, we're not going to lay out our exact timeline, but they were all woken up around the same time.
Okay.
Very early this morning.
How many locations?
Almost 30 locations.
How many murders are associated with this group?
In this particular indictment, we've alleged 1 murder. That was for murder that occurred at a motel, I believe, in Anaheim. But there's a lot of other, not all their activities are in the indictment. So in the indictment, there's 1 murder at least that's alleged, but also kidnapping, assaults, a lot of drug trafficking. And we don't want to underestimate the effect of this drug trafficking. Most of what's being trafficked today are pills laced with fentanyl. The amount of fentanyl that we seized on this case and's been charged can literally kill thousands of kids. 1 fentanyl pill can kill a minor who's not used to having those drugs in their system. So when we say things like this guy sold 5,000 pills, that's potentially 5,000 people that be killed on that. So the stuff that we're taking off the streets is very, very, very dangerous, and these guys have no regard for human life. It's about making money.
Is drug trafficking the most common crime committed by this group?
Yes, drug trafficking, I would say, is the primary source of revenue for them, in addition to the illegal gaming locations that they have with the casinos that they're operating. Which, the casinos, by the way, that's where a lot of criminal activity happens. So there's a lot of drug dealing in there, prostitution, all kinds of stuff. So this is when we talk about cleaning up the community. Nobody wants to live around this type of activity. The neighbors certainly don't. Today when we executed our warrant at 1 location, there's a lot of neighbors came out, they were very surprised, they were asking questions. No one wants to live around this kind of activity.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a murder connected with a Stanton gambling house. Is that connected to this case?
I don't believe that's alleged in this indictment.
Do you know how many of the members, or how many of the people pictured here are, you said the Mexican Mafia members themselves are very limited. How many are actually Mexican Mafia besides Cardenas, or are all the rest of them just from the streets?
Cardenas is the member. Everyone else is an associate. So there are very few members. It is a very powerful position, and there are very few of them, but they exert a tremendous amount of control. 1 person will control an entire area, like in this case,
Is the number 120 members for the Mexican Mafia? I read that someplace, or do you have an order of magnitude for that? And can you list some of the local gangs that are controlled by the Mexican Mafia?
Do we have a number on? I don't know how many people are in the Mexican Mafia. No, I don't have that number on me. But we're not going to highlight the individual neighborhood gangs because they thrive on notoriety, and we're not trying to elevate their stature.
Do you expect more charges to come as maybe somebody wants to strike a deal in this group?
That is possible. I will tell you, on the federal system, most of these individuals are looking at a significant amount of prison time, often mandatory prison time, and the only way you can lower your exposure is if you potentially provide information that's helpful to investigators. So that will be on them. That'll be their decision between them and their lawyers, but we'll certainly welcome any cooperation that leads to more defendants being brought into this case.
All right, 2 more questions.
2 more questions.
Could you have some remarks in Spanish, please?
Chief, I think you might be the only one.
See, you have a question or?
Just, can you give us like a brief summary in Spanish? That'll be great, thank you.
Sí, gracias. Esta fue una investigación que duró de 2 años entre la mafia mexicana y todos los impactos que tiene a los residentes de la comunidad en el condado de Orange. Los crímenes que estamos investigando es drogas, asaltos, robos y hasta un asesino. Entonces fue podido hacer por la colaboración del FBI, de las otras ciudades del condado de Orange, y es algo que la comunidad siempre se quejaba, y ese es el resultado de hoy, de mucho trabajo que no se podía hacer sin esta colaboración aquí. Gracias.
Sí. You speak Spanish?
I'll do it off camera, thank you.
All right, one last question, someone hasn't asked one?
Will they all be in this courthouse?
Yes, that's a good question. So everyone arrested today will be making an appearance in federal court this afternoon, either here in Orange County or in downtown Los Angeles, and they will be seeing a judge this afternoon.
Can you say anything about the new charges against Cardenas?
The new charges? No, he's charged in this indictment, so he's facing a significant amount of federal prison time for operating this racketeering enterprise and the conspiracies here. So he's going to be moved from a state prison to a federal prison, probably a maximum security prison, where hopefully it'll be harder for him to find himself. All right, thank you guys very much. Appreciate your time. All right.